A man regained consciousness in the ICU, overhearing his wife discussing his inheritance over the phone. He immediately decided to play dead. Madu walked down a dark, narrow hallway, feeling a sense of oppression with each step. In the distance, a faintly lit door appeared like a beacon. Shadows danced around him, whispering secrets he couldn't understand. Suddenly, a bright flash made him squint, and a loud noise echoed in his ears like distant voices. A deep, booming voice told him he had to return, that his time wasn't over. He felt an invisible force pushing him forward, pulling him back to the world of the living. Opening his eyes slowly, disoriented and unable to move his muscles, the cold white light of the hospital room momentarily blinded him. As his senses returned, Madu tried to remember how he got there. Happy and painful memories mixed in his mind, creating a confusing tangle of images. Gradually, he began to recognize familiar sounds around him. The constant beeping of machines, the muted murmurs of voices, and someone speaking nearby. With effort, Madu turned his head slightly and listened intently. It was his wife, Adako, whose voice he had loved for years, but now seemed cold and unfair. Adako was speaking on the phone, her tone confidential and calculating. "Yes, the inheritance will be ours soon," Adako said. "We just have to wait a little longer. Everything will be in our name. Don't worry, Chukwudi. Madu isn't going to wake up." Madu's heart stopped for a moment. Betrayal and pain washed over him. The woman he believed loved him, with whom he had shared his life, was plotting his demise for his inheritance. He felt a wave of anger and despair, but also an unexpected clarity. He had to pretend to remain unconscious. He needed to uncover the whole truth and protect what was his. As the conversation continued, Madu knew his decision was correct. Adako and her lover, Chukwudi, were scheming to take everything he had built. The pain and the disappointment were overwhelming, but Madu found a spark of determination within him. He wouldn't let them get away with it. While feigning unconsciousness, Madu watched every detail and listened to every word. He knew he had to stay alert and strong to face what was coming. Adako's betrayal was a devastating blow, but also a call to action. Finally, Adako hung up the phone and approached Madu's bed, feigning a concern he now knew was false. She stroked his forehead and whispered comforting words. Madu maintained his facade, fighting the urge to confront her right then. He needed time and a plan. With a wounded heart but a clear mind, Madu prepared for the long road ahead. The battle for his life, his inheritance, and his dignity had just begun. Adako visited Madu in the ICU every day, always with a worried expression on her face. But now aware of her betrayal, Madu saw beyond her act. He noticed how her eyes gleamed with a coldness that had previously gone unnoticed. Adako made sure all the medical equipment was functioning correctly and occasionally whispered words of love in his ear. But Madu no longer found comfort in her voice. He only sensed falsehood and calculation. One day, while Adako was next to his bed, her phone rang. Madu tensed, anticipating another revealing conversation. Adako looked around to ensure no one was nearby and answered in a low but hurried tone. "Hello, Chukwudi," she said, her voice filled with a warmth she never used with Madu. "Yes, I've talked to the lawyer. Everything is in order. We just need to wait a bit longer." Madu felt a sharp pain in his chest. Chukwudi wasn't just a lover. He was also his business partner, someone he had trusted blindly. Hearing his name in that context made the betrayal even deeper. He struggled to stay still, fighting the anger and pain that threatened to give him away. "Yes, darling," Adako continued. "Once Madu is no longer an issue, we can proceed with the transfer. There will be no problem. Everything will be in our name." Madu closed his eyes tightly, trying to control the flood of emotions. He felt a mix of rage, sadness, and renewed determination. He had to stay strong and keep listening to every word Adako said. Each piece of information was crucial to forming his plan. Adako ended the call, and as if nothing had happened, turned to Madu with a tender smile. "Everything is going to be fine, love," she said softly, caressing his hand. "You will get better soon." Madu remained motionless, focused on his breathing. He knew he had to keep pretending and continue gathering information. Each visit from Adako was an opportunity to discover more and refine his plan. The following days were an emotional torture. Adako kept visiting, always with that mask of concern, while Madu listened to her secret conversations with Chukwudi. Every word, every gesture reinforced Madu's conviction that he had to do something to stop them. One morning, as the sun gently filtered through the room curtains, Adako entered with a look of genuine concern, or so it seemed. Madu wondered how much of her performance was real and how much was pure manipulation. Adako sat beside his bed and took his hand. "Love, the doctor says you need time, but I know you're strong. I know you'll get through this." Madu looked at her through half-closed eyelids, feeling a mixture of disgust and sadness. The woman he had once loved and trusted completely was now a stranger, a traitor. That same afternoon, when Adako left the room, Madu had a moment of introspection. He remembered the good times, the happy moments they had shared, but now those memories were tainted by betrayal. He had to stay strong for himself and for everything he had built. Determined not to let sadness overcome him, Madu began to plan his next move. He needed allies, people he could trust. He knew that Dr. Amaka, the doctor, might be one of those people. With renewed determination, Madu prepared for what lay ahead. He knew the battle had just begun and that he had to be ready to face Adako and Chukwudi with all the strength and cunning he could muster. Dr. Amaka visited Madu regularly, checking his vital signs and ensuring he was comfortable. She was a dedicated and observant woman, and gradually she began to notice small changes in Madu. Subtle movements, like a blink that seemed more conscious or a slight movement of his fingers, aroused her suspicions. One afternoon, while adjusting Madu's monitors, Amaka noticed his eyes following her movements. It was a minimal but significant change. She decided to stay a few minutes longer, observing discreetly. "Madu," she said softly, almost a whisper, "if you can hear me, move a finger." There was a moment of tense silence, and then, to her astonishment, Madu's index finger moved slightly. Amaka felt a surge of emotion and relief. She knew she had to handle this situation carefully. From that moment on, Amaka began to visit Madu more frequently, observing his responses to simple stimuli. With each visit, her suspicions were further confirmed. Madu was conscious, trapped in his own body. One afternoon, while reviewing his medical history, Amaka decided to speak directly to Madu. She approached his bed and leaned in so her words wouldn't be heard by the monitors or potential eavesdroppers. "Madu, I know you can hear me. If you are conscious, I need you to give me a sign." With visible effort, Madu managed to move his finger again. Amaka smiled, a smile full of hope and determination. "I'm going to help you, Madu, but you need to trust me." Days later, while Adako was away, Amaka took advantage of a moment of privacy to have a deeper conversation with Madu. "I've noticed you react to my questions," she said, keeping her voice low. "I'm going to ask you some questions, and if the answer is yes, move your finger. If it's no, do nothing." Madu, with renewed strength, moved his finger to indicate he understood. She began asking him about his condition, and finally about his situation with Adako. With each movement of his finger, Madu told her his story of betrayal and pain. Amaka felt a mix of indignation and compassion. "Don't worry, Madu. I won't tell anyone. We are going to get you out of this, but you need to recover first. I'll keep your secrets." From that moment on, Amaka became his silent ally. She started changing Madu's routine, introducing small exercises to strengthen his muscles without raising suspicion. Every day, Amaka and Madu communicated more efficiently, developing a code to exchange crucial information. Meanwhile, Adobe, the young nurse, continued providing emotional care to Madu. Although she was unaware of Madu's conscious state, her words of encouragement and constant presence gave him the strength to keep going. Adako kept visiting Madu, unaware that her husband was conscious of every one of her movements and conversations. Her cold and calculating attitude became increasingly evident to Madu, who used these moments to strengthen his determination. One day, while adjusting Madu's IV, Amaka leaned in and whispered, "I'm investigating how we could expose Amaka and Chukwudi. I'm investigating how we could expose Adako and Chukwudi. I need time to gather solid evidence. Trust me, Madu, we are going to make this happen." With that promise, Madu felt renewed hope. He knew he wasn't alone in this fight, and that with Amaka's help, he could confront Adako and Chukwudi. The silent alliance between Madu and Amaka grew stronger each day, preparing for the confrontation that would change their lives. The relationship between Madu and Amaka has strengthened over time. Amaka had proven to be a trustworthy ally, and Madu trusted her completely. As his strength increased and his body responded better, Madu knew the time to act was approaching. He needed to communicate clearly with Amaka to devise a detailed plan. One afternoon, when Adako had left the hospital, Amaka took the opportunity to have a deeper conversation with Madu. She closed the room's door and approached his bed with a serious but hopeful expression. "Madu," she said softly, "we need to talk about how to proceed. If you're ready, give me a clear sign." Madu, with visible effort, moved his finger firmly. Amaka nodded and began explaining her plan. "First, we must ensure Adako and Chukwudi don't suspect anything. I'll continue to maintain the appearance that you're unconscious while we discreetly gather evidence against them." She showed Madu the financial and legal records she had found, which contained irregularities that could be used as evidence. She had also recorded some of Adako's conversations when she thought she was alone. "I have some recordings and documents that could incriminate them," Amaka said. "But we need more solid evidence to ensure they can't escape the consequences." Madu listened attentively, his heart pounding. He moved his finger to indicate he understood and agreed with the plan. Amaka continued, "I'm going to contact a trustworthy lawyer. We need someone who can handle this discreetly and ensure your inheritance and businesses are protected." With each passing day, Madu and Amaka refined their plan. Amaka had contacted the lawyer, who agreed to help without revealing Madu's true condition. Together, they started preparing for the confrontation that would expose Adako and Chukwudi. Meanwhile, Adobe, unaware of Madu's conscious state, continued to provide emotional support. Her regular visits and attentive care gave Madu respite amid the storm. One morning, while Adako was out, Amaka brought the lawyer to Madu's room. "Madu," Amaka said softly, "this is the lawyer who will help us. We need your confirmation to proceed." The lawyer, a middle-aged man with a keen and understanding look, approached Madu. "Sir," he said respectfully, "I'm here to ensure your interests are protected. If you agree, please give a sign." Madu, with a firm and determined look, moved his finger again. The lawyer nodded, understanding the gravity of the situation. "We'll work together to ensure justice prevails," he promised. Amaka, the lawyer, and Madu formed a united team with a common goal: to expose Adako and Chukwudi and protect what rightfully belonged to Madu. Every step was meticulously planned, every move carefully executed to avoid arousing suspicion. Amaka and the lawyer began to gather more evidence, including legal and financial documents proving Adako and Chukwudi's betrayal. At the same time, Madu continued to strengthen his body, preparing for the day he would finally confront his betrayers. One afternoon, while adjusting Madu's medical equipment, Amaka whispered, "We are almost there, Madu. Soon, you'll be able to face them. Stay strong." With that promise, Madu found renewed strength. He knew the moment was approaching, and that with Amaka and the lawyer's help, he could regain his life and protect his legacy. The silent pact between them grew stronger each day, preparing the ground for the confrontation that would change their lives forever. Madu and Amaka knew that preparation would be key to exposing Adako and Chukwudi. Every day was a constant battle to maintain appearances while gathering the necessary information to ensure a decisive confrontation. Amaka made sure Madu received the medical care needed to speed up his physical recovery without raising suspicion. She began spending more time at the hospital, using her shifts to meticulously review Madu's medical and financial records. She discovered that Adako had started transferring small amounts of money from their joint accounts to a private account. These movements revealed Adako and Chukwudi's premeditation to seize Madu's inheritance. One afternoon, while Madu was resting, Amaka met with the lawyer in a hospital conference room. "I found these transfers," Amaka said, showing the lawyer the documents she had gathered. "We need to collect more evidence and ensure these transactions are tracked." The lawyer nodded. "I'll need access to more financial records. If we can prove Adako and Chukwudi are acting with intent to defraud, we'll have a solid case." Back in Madu's room, Amaka informed him of the progress. "We are making good progress," she said softly. "The lawyer is working on tracing the transactions. We need more time, but we're on the right track." Madu moved his fingers to indicate he understood. He knew that each passing day was an opportunity to strengthen his body and mind. He began performing discrete physical exercises under Amaka's supervision, slowly regaining the strength he had lost during his convalescence. Meanwhile, Adako continued visiting him regularly, unaware that Madu was conscious and aware of her plans. One morning, as she was talking on the phone with Chukwudi, Madu heard something that reinforced his determination. "Yes, Chukwudi," Adako said. "The lawyer says everything is in order. Soon we can start transferring the properties." Madu felt a mix of anger and determination. He knew time was running out. Adako and Chukwudi were getting closer to executing their plan. He had to act quickly. That afternoon, Amaka brought a small voice recorder. "I want you to have this," she said. "We can use it to record any relevant conversations. It will be crucial." Madu nodded slightly, taking the device and discreetly hiding it under his pillow. He knew every word and detail counted. Every visit from Adako and every conversation with Chukwudi was an opportunity to gather more information. Every visit from Adako and every conversation with Chukwudi was an opportunity to gather more evidence. Look out for part 2. Don't forget to share and subscribe. Turn on post notifications for the concluding part of this amazing story.